Weight loss surgery can be very tempting when you are in just a very desperate situation to lose weight. And in this video, we want to explain what we've come across with our different clients who have had weight loss surgeries and what their experiences have been. Because every time we hear that somebody's considering getting a weight loss surgery, I'm like, no, please, just wait. Please hear me out. Just give me a second, because what we've noticed is just extremely difficult scenarios later on. And does weight loss surgery actually give you what you're looking for? So in this video, we want to explain to you like what could be the good things about weight loss surgery and why and when you might want it, and what are the negative or downsides of it and why you might consider not doing it. So we have had several people come through our community. We've had different one-on-one clients, and we have had people who have gotten weight loss surgeries that we would say that was a good choice. And we've had people get weight loss surgeries where we've thought, yeah, that probably shouldn't have happened because it didn't really serve the purpose that you wanted it to serve. So
people normally come to us either after or when they're in the process
considering
it. Because obviously with a surgery, like, you got to meet with a doctor and you got to put a date on it. So what are you doing in that time? You're like, how, like, if this is what you're considering, you're desperate to lose weight. That's just the reality of it. If you're willing to go out of your way to put all that money down, to have somebody cut you open, to go through the grueling process of having literally half of your body go through, like, at least a couple months, recovery period, depending on what weight loss surgery it is. If it's like a band or a gastric bypass, and you're willing to go out of your way to literally have somebody manipulate the size of your stomach or something like that, you're in desperation mode. That's just the reality of it.
Bariatric surgery can cost between $15,000 and $23,000.
Yeah.
There's also, so I'll be very honest. I'm not 100% like well versed in which ones are which. I know there's one where like literally a part of your stomach is removed. I know that there's one where
gastric bypass.
There's one where there's like a band, something put around it. What else is there? There's like tummy tuck, like liposuction.
There are tummy tucks, there's skin removal, like surgeries, stuff like that. I would say that we are particularly talking about anybody who's considering, like a
gastric
bypass, a band put in, or bariatric surgery.
Yeah.
Okay. And I would tell you, do you want me to go? There's a purpose why, these surgeries were put into place. And what you need to understand is that these surgeries are tools. I'll say it again, they're tools, they're not the solution.
However, they are sold as a solution.
Yes. And if you think that is your solution, then you're going to come back a couple years later and you're going to find yourself in the same spot.
Very likely. And you know what, to be honest, or to just ask, because we want to know where you're coming from. Have you had a weight loss surgery? If so, what kind? And, how long ago was it? And, what has your experience been since then? Would love to know in the comments, because every person is very different. We're not here to say you shouldn't do it or you should do it. We're here to say, watch this before you do, if you haven't yet or you're considering it. And, even if you have, but you're disappointed because you find yourself not in the place that you thought you would be, then what to do from there?
Yeah. So I will tell you who I believe this is for, and like when I would recommend somebody to actually do it, right? Because again, this tool was put there on purpose. It's just that a lot of times people use it just as a form of desperation or an easier way out. Okay, now let's say you had some kind of health condition, and like you are at a point where your doctor has given you a timeline and was like, ma'am, sir, if you do not lose these 50 pounds within the next 30 days, I don't think your heart's going to be able to make it. Okay, makes sense. We need some kind of artificial manipulation, because when you do weight loss like in a real holistic way, dropping 50 pounds in 30 days, especially after you just had a surgery, let's say, God forbid, like you had some kind of like, pulmonary bypass or something like that. And like you can barely even get out of bed, right? Because you're breathing so hard and you're just trying to stay alive. There's no way that you're going to be able to lose that amount of weight in that amount of time. Totally makes sense. Go recommend me to a surgery so I can freaking save my life. Get it, love it, great. Like that would be your step one. Now, after that, do not stop there. But right now, like your main priority is like, dude, like let me just make sure that I'm on this freaking planet, and this should be your vehicle that can keep you alive long enough before you make it to the next stage. Okay.
So to sum that up, it's like, if it is a life threat and the only choice for you to keep your life.
If it is a life threat that puts you on a really aggressive timeline, we're doing it the sustainable route, will take you more time.
And chances are, I don't know if we want to get into this now or with the reasons why we would suggest that you don't do it.
Can we get through the other two?
Oh, of why you would?
Yeah. So that's one. The other reason why you would want to do it is because you've done a lot of things and it didn't work for you, right? And listen, like medicine.
Oh, hold on. Let me bring clarity.
Okay.
We're just talking about any given reasons why somebody would want to get weight loss surgery. Or are you talking about reasons why you would recommend somebody does get it?
Okay. Let's go the
I want to clarify.
Yeah, so let's talk about why we would recommend a weight loss surgery.
Okay, so reasons why you would, reasons why.
Okay, so
or reasons why we would suggest that it's an okay route, and reasons we would say it's not the right solution.
Yeah. So your life depends on it and you have an aggressive timeline. The other reason could be, what if you weigh 600 pounds and you're like, dude, like with my frame, I should be weighing like 200 pounds or 185. Listen, medicine has made it convenient. If you're like, let me get a 50 or 100 pound head start on that shit because I got a really long way to go. And, I want to take advantage of, like the time that I'm living in. Fair. I mean, 400 pounds is a big deal. It's going to take you a lot of time. Even after that, it's going to take you a lot of time. So you're using it as a tool to get a head start on a really, really audacious goal.
I would disagree with you.
What?
I would disagree with you. But go ahead.
Yeah, I know why you would disagree with me.
Why?
Because you're like do it the real way.
Here's the deal. I'm just going to say what I want to say real quick. Because the one thing to keep in mind is, before we just say, oh, which ones would we recommend yes and no for, the intention is really what matters. period. What is your intention? If your intention is to save your life because it's in a crisis, not just like mentally because you're like lacking self-confidence and you don't know who you are and all of that, but if you're literally physically so compromised that you are, your days are numbered and you know what the number is, like it's that little, okay, that's the only time I would ever recommend, yes, go for it, because the intention is to keep yourself alive. Now, any other reason, any vanity, any self-confidence, any you want to improve your self-worth, you want to feel more comfortable in your skin, the reason I would say don't do it is because if you haven't developed the habits that are going to keep it off, then you won't keep it off. You're going to waste your money. You're going to find yourself back in the same position. We see it over and over and over and over again. So even if you're 600 pounds, I would say the weight loss surgery only would, I put myself in those shoes too. I say, what would I do? Knowing what I know, knowing what I've been through, knowing the struggles I've overcome with my weight and food and, you know, emotional eating and all of that. If I was 600 pounds and I could coach myself from where I'm at now, I would say, you need to lose 100 pounds first. Show me you can lose 100 pounds. Then I would say, okay, maybe you can get the weight loss surgery, because you've got to teach yourself how to build the habits and the discipline and the accountability and the responsibility, and you've got to show you can stick to something, because if you can't, you're going to lose all this weight, then really fast, you're going to have the same habits as you did before, which means the weight's going to come back. Now your internal system is compromised, so you're going to make it harder for yourself to lose weight because your hormonal situation doesn't work the same as it did before, and mentally you're going to be defeated because now all of a sudden you got these amazing quick results and then you've gone backwards, so now you feel even more defeated and broken and like something's wrong with you, and then you just continue this like downward spiral of like, I'm not enough. And so I would say, show me you can lose 100 pounds and keep it off for at least 6 months, then maybe you get a surgery. Because at that point, I would feel more confident that once the weight is gone, you can actually maintain it. The problem lies in where we go for a quick fix without doing the work, and then we feel like we're in an even worse spot if we gain that weight back, which most of the time we do. Most of the time it does. Like anybody who's come into our community that I have found out they've had weight loss surgery, actually every single one of them except for one, because it was recent, it was one of your clients, and she had done the work first. She did the work. She proved to herself she was developing the habits, the discipline. She was showing up consistently. She was really like, that was one time where I was like, good for her, dude. Good for her. You know, and a lot of it was also skin removal.
And that was the whole intention of us working together. So that, especially because she knew that afterwards there's going to be a couple months long recovery period, which means you can't work out,
yep.
right? So
you've got to be disciplined.
So we had to prepare her by forming the habits and also mentally preparing and making sure that on the, come up from that surgery, she has that accountability in the sense that, let's say there's a mind switch.
And I feel very confident she will maintain the results.
She's great.
There's actually another person. Do you remember Kayla A? From a long time ago?
Yeah.
Lost over 100 pounds.
Uh-huh.
She lost over 100 pounds. When you lose over 100 pounds, like you've got a lot of extra skin in places. The elasticity just isn't the same, right? So like you've got this extra skin and maybe there's a little extra fat in there. So while you're having this skin removal, you're like, fuck it, just take the rest of the fat out. But at that point, if you've lost over 100 pounds and it's been like years of a journey for you and you've had to work your way through the adversities and the struggles and the temptations and all this, like the hard parts about it, then I'm all for it. Go for it. Sure. If you've got the money, you want to do it, great. But just don't skip out on the hard work. Do not take the easy way out because it's not going to be easy.
Mm-hmm.
I summed up most of my thoughts in that.
No, I really like this. And, like I want you to know that I'm thinking about what, Erin and I are thinking. And this is turning to be like a debate conversation.
It's good.
This is real life. This is real life. And
we don't always agree.
And no, I want you to know that I appreciate what you have to say. I really do. And, the reason why I'm saying that is because I'm thinking about that 600-pound person. And I'm like, well, like they must be suffering. Like if you have gotten yourself to be 600 pounds, you're for sure not showering. You for sure are not going downstairs. Like you are captivated by your body. And I'm just thinking like, imagine what a way to live. Like how can we let that person live just a little bit? But then when you started talking, what I was thinking about is when anybody who goes through surgery, you have to sign papers in the case that something happen, like when you're 600 pounds, what is the likelihood of your heart being able to keep up when you go under?
Yeah.
So when you were saying that, I'm like, actually, I agree. I agree with what you have to say. At the same time, I do think, listen, if you're like, let me get my first 100 pounds off quickly, make sure that like you are getting the help to help you get coached through your habits, regardless with whoever it is, before you're even out of the hospital.
That's the only way I would say, like, yes, it's acceptable.
Right, because otherwise, when you go home, you're going back to your old habits.
And what she means by that is hire somebody who's going to coach you afterwards. Make that commitment
beforehand.
Financially, like put your money where your mouth is. Make that commitment and say, when I am done with this surgery and this weight has come off, I've already committed to and promised myself I am going to get coached through how to do the work. Because often when we get the results before the work, we don't keep the results, period. Someone wins the lottery, they didn't do the work to get the money, they don't keep the money. When the money goes away, they don't know how to get it again because they didn't have to do the work to figure it out in the first place. When you don't do the work, you don't keep the results. So, the only other way would be is if you are already committed, not just in your mind, yeah, I'm gonna do it, that never works. Put your money where your mouth is. Mm-hmm. That's the only way that you will remain committed, is if you have something else to lose besides the weight.
Because I will tell you, after that surgery, like the recovery period is going to be rough for a couple of weeks. And I share this, Brandy Coke, if you're listening to this, I want to give you a huge shout out. Like Brandy had her surgery a couple months ago, and she is in a solid spot, and she's super fit, super healthy, super aware and conscious. And even for someone like that, right? Like we've prepared her mentally, we've prepared her physically, we've prepared her emotionally. And for the first month, it was still difficult because you're so limited.
Yeah.
And so she's still limited and she's frustrated. Right? But so, like even
and when you're in that situation, if you haven't built the discipline, you're tempted to eat your feelings.
Yes.
And you haven't built the muscle yet to know how to work your way around that or resist those temptations or the need to emotionally eat because you're struggling with something. So what do? Nom, 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 nom. The weight comes back.
Also, just being honest, if you weigh a significant amount of weight, chances are is that the people that you're surrounded by also weigh a significant amount of weight. And what's going to happen when you're in the recovery room? You're now like, here, honey, like, just so you feel better, have like this dozen donuts.
It doesn't matter now because the weight's gone.
Or not just that. Like, that's just how these people live.
Well, listen, you will think about it. Oh, the weight's gone. So justification. Because the pain is not so great anymore because you don't have all that weight anymore. So as the pain, the mental and emotional pain dissipates, justifications start creeping in. And even with the person, when you mention, okay, if I'm 600 pounds and like I must be in misery, they've been that way a long time.
Yeah.
That's why they've made the decisions that they've made, you know. And this is 100% not to put anybody down, not to shame anybody, this is not the point of this. Just saying, like, what place are different people in who would consider doing a weight loss surgery? What is the intention that would be something that would actually benefit them, and what intentions would actually create further harm or discomfort or like difficulty in their life?
Yeah. So, you know, aside from the fact that while in the recovery room, like, I mean, in the hospitals, you're giving shit food, just so you know. Like, there's no, like, nutrient density whatsoever. It is all just processed crap. However, you don't have control over that. Right? While you're at the hospital, you have to eat what they are giving you. And then chances are, listen, if you come from a family of 600 pounds, 600 pounds does not happen by accident. That's not big boned. Then everybody in that family is eating garbage. So what are they going to bring you? It's simply because of lack of education, too.
Hold on. I want to say it's very likely, but it's a very big generalization. It's very likely because oftentimes we become who we surround ourselves with, and there's a lot to say about nurture, but it might not always be the case.
Yeah. No. So if you want to get that head start, because you got a long way to go. I'm not talking like 50-pound long way to go. Like can get that in less
like
than a year.
Or more.
I'm talking like, yeah, more than 150 type of long. Okay? Where even if you're diligent, if you're consistent, it's going to take you at least 2 years. And you're like, you know what? Let me see if I can cut 6 months out of the equation. Got it. Makes sense.
Would you recommend it?
I think it's up to the person. I would not do it. I would not do it because I believe that you want to build the skills from the get-go.
So again, here's the bottom line. It goes back to the intention. If you are doing it to skip out on the hard work and take the easy way out, it's not going to be as easy as you think it is going to be. In fact, probably it will be harder. If you are doing it because you've already like proven to yourself over like a year's time that you can create discipline, you have improved the quality of your life on your own, you've maybe already lost a bit of weight on your own, and you want to take it to the next step, I would say, like, if you're trying to speed up the process, if you're just trying to speed up the process, just keep doing the work. You will be so much more proud of yourself when you actually accomplish it on your own. Nobody is proud of themselves for getting handouts. Nobody is proud of themselves for receiving something they didn't earn. So if we are looking for self-confidence and a high self-esteem and self-worth, you can only get that if you've earned it. So the decision at the end of the day, I really wanted to try to like present both sides. Like there is a reason for both ways.
Yep.
Right? However, I say there, in my own personal opinion, there is only one way where I personally would make the decision to do it. And that is if I've already proven to myself that like I can get disciplined, or like if it's literally life or death in a matter of months.
A glimpse of a second. Yeah.
So, even then I would say, hire somebody before you even go through that, because if you want to maintain those results, you're still going to want to earn it. anything aside from those, in my own personal opinion, I'd be like, man, do the work. Otherwise, you're not going to be proud of yourself anyways. And most of the time, people don't want to lose weight because they just want a number to be different on the scale. You want to lose weight because you want to be more confident in yourself, because you want to be proud of yourself, because you want to feel like you're worthy, because you want to feel like you're not just taking up space, because you want to be a good example to your kids, because you want to feel like you have enough energy to make it through the day without having to take a nap at 2 p.m. Like, these are all things that when we earn it, we actually feel like we've done something, and we get that satisfaction that we're truly looking for, not just the weight loss. But if you just try to take the easy way, you're not actually getting what you're seeking, which is that fulfillment, that self-confidence, that learning how to love myself, learning how to treat myself with respect, learning how to be a good example to my kids so that they can grow up and maybe probably not be in the same situation I'm finding myself in. And I am the one that has to teach them how to do that. So, it's the only way you can really get that satisfaction is if you do the work.
Do the work. And so will we.
If you like this video, just hit the little like button, the little thumbs up button. It helps us to know what type of content you guys really enjoy listening to, so that we can continue to bring you more of that. If you like this channel and everything that we talk about, hit the subscribe button.
And if you know someone who's considering a weight loss surgery and you're like, man, I feel like they're right and they need to listen, and that person needs to listen to it, please share it with them. We're just speaking from what we've known, because the people who we've helped, who have come to us after, most of the time people come to us afterwards because the weight goes back up. They're like, man, had I known about this beforehand, I wouldn't have.
And usually they have a much more difficult time. It takes them a bit longer to lose the weight. Still possible, but more difficult.
Yeah.
So if you have had weight loss surgery already and you're finding yourself kind of on the other end where you're like, shit, that's me, I have gained it back, hope is not all lost. It's possible for you, and depending on which type, could be a little bit more difficult of a journey if we're just being really honest. But that doesn't mean that it is impossible, and also you're going to feel even more proud of yourself when you do overcome.
Yeah.
So thanks for watching. We'll see you guys next time.